In this podcast episode, Charlie Houpert delves into the profound and challenging journey of personal growth, the painful process of shedding old identities, and the quest for deeper meaning beyond material success. Spanning topics such as emotional and spiritual awakening, the masculine-feminine dynamic, mythology as a tool for understanding inner struggles, and the evolving nature of charisma, Charlie offers an intimate reflection on his own path and insights into navigating transformative life transitions. Charlie begins by describing his earlier years dominated by external achievements, building a business, cultivating social success, and optimizing his life. Despite reaching many traditional milestones, he encountered a profound emptiness and a sense of disconnection from himself. This led to a crisis where he struggled to reconcile who he was with who he was becoming, encountering what he calls lonely chapters in his transition from victimhood through optimization to a more uncertain and internal journey. The unifying thread in his narrative, he explains, is an ongoing effort to confront the most significant problem in his life by seeking out learning and growth to solve it. Charlie recounts how, after achieving substantial success, he began breaking things around him, relationships fraying, motivation waning, and joy diminishing. This pattern signified an internal awakening where material success alone could no longer sustain him. He terms this the God pivot, a spiritual disconnection beneath the surface of achievement that forced him into deeper self-inquiry. He emphasizes that success and spiritual connection are not inherently in opposition, but that unresolved emotional wounds often sabotage one's ability to fully engage with both realms. The episode explores the evolution from someone driven by optimization, constant goal setting, outperforming past results, and relentless productivity, to realizing that continual striving without emotional and spiritual nourishment leads to burnout and existential despair. Charlie shares how what started as authentic self-help and problem-solving eventually devolved into an oppressive cycle of competition with himself, diminishing his initial motivation rooted in solving his own problems and helping others. Charlie introduces the concept of unteachable lessons, universal truths and warnings repeated across history, literature, and elder counsel, which people nonetheless learn the hard way through lived experience. These lessons often relate to money, fame, relationships, and personal priorities. He reflects on the common human tendency to believe we are exceptions and that the wisdom of previous generations might not apply to us, leading to repeated mistakes. This insight served to lessen his own self-judgment as he navigated growth. A core framework discussed is a pyramid moving from external results to behaviors, actions, then emotional awareness, and finally spirituality. Each stage involves sacrifice, often accompanied by lonely chapters, where social support can diminish and real-world outcomes might falter as internal work takes precedence. The shift from results to action allies with discipline. Moving deeper, from action to emotions, demands vulnerability and confronting difficult feelings, often causing relational strain. The final pivot toward spirituality uncovers fundamental existential separation and calls for integration of fragmented selves. The conversation touches on the social dynamics that resist personal change. Friends and family may unconsciously or consciously encourage one to remain static, out of fear of abandonment, inferiority, or the effort required to update their perception of the changing self. Charlie acknowledges the pain and loneliness that arise when a person evolves, as relationships can fracture or be redefined, and the awareness that not everyone can or will follow the same growth trajectory. The discussion transitions into masculine and feminine energies within individuals, explaining common associations with emotional control and vulnerability. The masculine is linked to order, analytical thinking, and action, while the feminine relates to receptivity, intuition, and feeling. True maturity, Charlie suggests, involves embodying and integrating both sides rather than suppressing one. He critiques cultural norms that valorize emotional suppression in men and advocates for emotional containment where feelings are fully experienced but channeled constructively. Charlie highlights the difficulty yet importance of practicing vulnerability, the courage to speak one's truth even when terrifying, and the challenge of shifting from external validation to internal peace. He contrasts cultural portrayals of emotional awakening, often framed as serving others rather than self, and notes the societal discomfort with men embracing sensitivity. The paradox is that emotional growth may initially result in decreased external success and social respect, a reality that dissuades many from pursuing it. The episode explores the tension between maintaining confident, high-conviction identities that produce tangible results and embracing the uncertainty and rawness required for emotional and spiritual growth. Charlie describes his past charisma and influence deriving from certainty and clear goals, which attracted others. Yet, as he entered new phases, he lost some of that confidence and social standing, leading to self-doubt. The process demands releasing the old ego identity, akin to an ego death, which many resist as it feels like losing what has worked. A resonant metaphor arises from Charlie's experience playing the video game Hades 2, where he realized he had been optimizing every move instead of exploring and enjoying the process. He uses this to illustrate how modern over-optimization restricts creativity and intuition, resulting in a narrow, efficient, but joyless existence. Letting intuition guide exploration leads to fresh insights and deeper fulfillment, but requires trust in the unknown and tolerance of ambiguity, qualities often stifled by anxious control. The conversation turns to mythology as a profound tool for integrating emotional depth and spiritual meaning. Charlie praises thinkers like Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell for their work on archetypes and the hero's journey, which offers a map for personal transformation. Myths such as the story of Hephaestus, Aphrodite, and Ares reveal timeless psychological patterns at play within individuals. Relating to these archetypes helps reclaim split-off parts of oneself and heal ancestral wounds, creating a sense of wholeness and belonging. Charlie reflects on the evolving meaning of charisma, from a tool for social approval and likability to a divine gift that encompasses authenticity, radiance, and presence. He acknowledges the challenges of expanding his public persona from surface-level tips toward deeper explorations of spirituality and personal truth. This shift risks alienating some audience members, but aligns with his growing desire to align his work with a higher purpose and personal authenticity. The tension between external validation and internal wholeness is a continual theme, with Charlie emphasizing the balancing act between functioning effectively in the world while nurturing emotional and spiritual depth. The necessity to honor social realities, survival needs, and communal belonging coexists with a persistent inner call towards self-discovery and transcendence. Learning to hold both currents simultaneously is crucial but difficult. Discussing the lack of healthy male role models from his own upbringing, Charlie highlights the void many men feel today. He envisions opportunities for a new form of mentorship, blended between digital communities and in-person connection that can guide men through the evolving landscape of masculinity. He points to public figures like Jordan Peterson and Joe Hudson who have filled some of this space, but acknowledges generational and cultural gaps that complicate direct translation of their teachings. Charlie intimately shares the challenges of living as a highly sensitive person in a world that often rewards emotional suppression. He speaks candidly about moments of overwhelming emotional release, such as crying freely at the moon or in response to nature's beauty. This vulnerability, while sometimes socially stigmatized or personally frightening, becomes a source of strength as he learns to ouch out loud and express genuine feelings without armor or repression. The conversation assesses the evolution of male-focused communities, from early pickup artistry emphasizing external results, through reactionary red pill movements, to a growing third wave highlighting emotional awareness and vulnerability. Charlie and his interlocutor acknowledge the pain and complexity inherent in men's struggles with identity, relational dynamics, and cultural expectations, advocating for integrative approaches that honor both strength and sensitivity. Charlie contrasts masculine tendencies toward future-oriented striving for meaning with the challenge of embracing pleasure and present-moment awareness often associated with the feminine. He reflects on his own difficulties in accessing joy and relaxation amidst relentless ambition. Examples from recreational sports and creative work illustrate the liberating power of shifting focus from outcomes to process and presence. Acknowledging his own limitations, Charlie discusses the difficulty in holding emotional space when others express vulnerability. He admires people like Stephen Bartlett who can empathize deeply without becoming overwhelmed, and recognizes this as a black belt level skill. Cultivating this capacity facilitates deeper human connection and models a new form of masculinity grounded in emotional courage. Charlie concludes with reflections on embracing the unknown and making peace with the fear that accompanies profound transformation. He advocates patience and gentleness with oneself during transitions, encouraging experimentation with varied practices such as breathwork, therapy, meditation, and creative pursuits to build trust in intuition and the unfolding journey. Charlie embraces the paradox of moving forward without guaranteed outcomes, trusting emergence over control. The dialogue closes on the idea that success shifts through stages, from external achievement and validation to authentic self-service, and finally to genuine service of others in alignment with one's highest truth. Charlie emphasizes radiating love and presence over people-pleasing or performative authenticity. He envisions new modes of contribution rooted in vulnerability, creativity, and the sacred marriage of masculine and feminine energies within, expressing excitement for the evolving directions his work and life will take.